Right, real fast. This is our load center that I picked up, 125 amp sub panel. It's a Square D Homeline sub panel. These are everywhere: Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon. It's way overkill for our hand truck build, but the whole purpose of this hand truck build is to not necessarily make a portable power station. It's to kind of build a real solar system. We're just gonna put it on a hand truck, but I'm trying to use like real components that you're gonna use like on your house. And so this is like a real sub panel. I've seen other people when they build these portable power stations, they just use like a power strip, or they use like a very small plastic load center that no one really uses those like in like a residential application. But this is our sub panel here. This is the basic layout here. It's our L1, L2, 120 volts down this leg, 120 volts down this leg, 240 across the both legs. Neutral bar, neutral terminal bar, another neutral, and then this is a neutral lug up here. If you notice, there is no grounding bar here. That's because that's what this is for. So this grounding bar here has a screw in there, and that screw attaches to, there's little holes here where you could screw this into the frame of this sub panel, and then that's where you would land your grounds. However, if you're using this like as a main service panel, where you're gonna it's like the first kind of bonding point for your neutrals and your grounds, that's what this screw's here for. I think I mentioned it in one of my last videos that most electrical panels are going to come with this screw. And if you're using it as a, there it is, box bonding screw. If you're using it as a main service panel, I think it goes right here. There's a little hole down there. You screw it in there and it bonds the neutrals to the frame here. And if you have this, that should allow you to just land the neutrals and the grounds wherever you want, which would be acceptable in a main kind of electrical panel, not a sub panel. So again, this is way overkill for what our build is, but just going over everything we got here. I think what I'm going to do is, because this thing is really heavy, I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to take this door off, because this door is super heavy, and maybe just roll with the door off. I don't know. We'll see. All right, I must have lost the clip where I was explaining everything I was about to do, but we're just going to do a quick narration here. All I'm doing is cutting some Unistrut to get just a basic kind of mock setup on how I'm going to hang the load center on the back of the hand truck. If I could do this again, I probably wouldn't have done the mock setup with Unistrut. I probably would have just used a 1x2 piece of wood and then transferred everything over to the Unistrut once I had it all laid out. Would have saved me a Sawzall blade and probably a bunch of sandpaper, but it's all right. All right, here's a shot of the backside of the hand truck. That's how I kind of mounted it. And then here's how we secured it onto the hand truck with these U-bolts. And this is a kind of in-between shot. It's not the best picture, but just to give you an idea. All right, I didn't fall. My name is Jesse, and this is our portable power station, or our small power station build that we're building. Yesterday I was able to attach the load center here onto the hand truck. I used these U-bolts here and Unistrut. I was afraid that this load center was going to be kind of flimsy and wobbly, but surprisingly these things bite very, very hard onto the frame, this tube here, and it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't twist, turn, it doesn't go up or down. So this thing is rock solid. It's not going anywhere. I was actually very impressed with the the biting force that these have. Like this literally is like welded onto this frame now. I removed the door temporarily just because it made it easier to install. With the door hanging off the side, it was kind of awkward to kind of position and put it in there. But once the door was off, I was able to easily put it on here. This is kind of like a mock kind of just layout that I have going on right now. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with kind of the way it's set up right now. I might make some just itty bitty adjustments just to kind of pull it out a little bit more. But for the most part, this thing is kind of going to live right here in this back spot. I'm trying to keep all the weight as low as possible, keep the center of gravity low, so just the hand truck is not wanting to wobble and tip around. Today, we're going to, and I'll try and go over, before I go on to what I'm going to try and do today, I'll try and go over more in detail, like all the parts I used. Eventually, I'm going to take all this stuff off, and then I'll kind of film everything as I piece it back together. But again, I'm just trying to do a little bit of a mock layup. once I kind of get it all the way I want, I'm going to disassemble it, and then I'll paint it, and then I'll do the final kind of assembly. And when I do the final assembly, I'll shoot most of it. I'll try to film everything. But today the plan is just to make a box for our server rack battery. Over there in that box is our Amazon eco-worthy 5 kilowatt server rack battery. The plan is to build a little box made out of plywood, and then I'm going to set the plywood box here, attach the plywood box to the frame here, and then our battery should just slip inside of our box. And then maybe later today or maybe tomorrow we'll work on mounting the inverter, the 6000P. We'll work on putting it somewhere around here. But that should be it. Let's try and get into it. All right, here's our temporary box. This is kind of just like a sacrificial piece. We're gonna use this just to figure out mounting points, where it's gonna attach. I really don't care too much about this. I'm not actually gonna use this. This is just for like a kind of getting a layout. If I mess up, if I gotta punch extra holes, I don't really care too much. It's just to get a nice mock setup here. All right. Should fit. These batteries are super heavy. Just to keep the dirt, dust off of here. All right, here's the progress so far. See if I can zoom in here. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 screws here. And in order for these to kind of sit flush, because I have to be able to slide the battery through here, I just countersunk them just a tiny bit, and then I put the screw through there. And then on the back side, it's just a 3/4 inch strap on both sides. And to be honest, I probably could have left it just like that, and this box wouldn't have went anywhere. But I had some hose clamps laying around, and I was thinking, I wonder if I could just use a hose clamp and just cut 2 little slits in the plywood and then just tighten down on the hose clamp. And I'll be honest, the hose clamp is by far the sturdiest. Once I started tightening down the hose clamp, it's not going anywhere at all. You could probably get away with just 2 hose clamps and the box would be secure, more than secure. And I'd still be able to slide the battery in here. So I think I'll test fit the battery, just see how it looks, and give it a spin. Heavy. All right, it's in. Let's give it a spin. It's getting heavier. Feels good though. Doesn't feel like it's wobbling. Feels solid. All right, load center's on, battery's on. Feels all right. All right. All right, that's probably gonna wrap this video up. Got the battery, got the load center, and I think what I'll end up doing is, for the final kind of build and assembly, this back plywood here on the final build, I'm probably gonna extend this all the way up here, probably somewhere to about here, and then our 6000 XP will get mounted on that plywood. It'll have that plywood as a backing. The 6000 XP, I think this is gonna be the rough dimensions. Let me see if I can just put it on a tripod. All right, you guys are on the tripod. And before I got the 6000 XP, I just kind of Googled the dimensions of the 6000 XP, and I just made like a cutout template. And I was trying to do like some kind of ideas of how I would fit it, but now that I have it kind of halfway there, I think the 6000 XP, I want to get it as low as possible, but I think somewhere right here is gonna look good. And it'll still give me room to kind of do some wire management. And I can still kind of see over. I still got room to put my hands, so it's almost perfect. This is just like the template. We'll see how the 6000 XP actually kind of fits on here, but so far don't look bad. All right, I will catch you guys on the next one.